This is Eddie Hearn, Matchroom Boxing. You're watching Sporting Icons. You don't need to be anywhere else.
Now, just when you think that the delusions, the self-pity, the excuses couldn't get any worse, well, they do. So big up to Deontay Wilder. You're keeping me very, very busy. And big up to you guys as well, because quite clearly you guys want me to keep on doing more and more Deontay Wilder videos, because you keep sending me all these clips over on social media, because I don't watch any of the channels that Deontay Wilder is associating himself with. We all know what it is that their narrative is anything that's not PBC is bad. Anything that's PBC is good. Okay, plus many other things. So I don't watch any of these guys, but quite clearly some of you lot do. Now, on this particular one, Wilder has contradicted himself yet again. And I don't know what more to tell people, really. I mean, how many times do we have to show it time and time again for some of his fanatical fan base to actually, for it to sink in? I don't understand how much more that we need to point out. Not just me, but other channels and that as well. Now, this latest one where he contradicts himself is where he's talking about Anthony Joshua, that fight not happening. Now, bear in mind, only 2-3 days ago on his social media, on Instagram, he put out that video, and underneath his video, he put like a little bit of a statement saying to Tyson Fury that he should be a man and give him the rematch, because he chose to fight Tyson Fury for less money than what Anthony Joshua offered him. So just in that little bit of a statement there will tell you that Anthony Joshua was trying to get the fight, and he walked away from an Anthony Joshua fight for more money as well, to go fight Tyson Fury for less money. And again, using Deontay Wilder's own words, Tyson Fury is a much more credible opponent and a much harder opponent. So you walked away from undisputed against an easier opponent for more money to go fight a harder opponent for less money. Try and make sense of that one. Hey, it is what it is. Now, Deontay Wilder, he says this about Anthony Joshua and, of course, Eddie Hearn. He starts off with Eddie Hearn. Eddie Hearn, he wants to be famous. He's always in the camera. We could have fought Joshua, but they ran. We could have fought him, but the DAZN contract wasn't right. He said they have no plans to fight me anyway. I'm past them. I'm sure that Wilder said so much more, but that's a little bit of a snippet of what it was that he said about the whole Joshua situation. So, as I said, he already confirmed only a couple of days ago that Joshua offered him more money to fight him for undisputed. But he took less money to go fight Tyson Fury. But Joshua ran. Joshua wasn't interested. He says the DAZN contract wasn't right. What, DAZN contract for $100 million for back-to-back fights with Anthony Joshua. 2 fights with Anthony Joshua, the first fight being in the United States of America. Shady Finkel confirmed this, by the way. Or he could have took $120 million, fought Dominic Brazil for $20 million on DAZN, and then fought Anthony Joshua back-to-back for the extra $100 million. He had a couple of choices there, but they didn't even try to negotiate. In fact, they fired his own manager, Lou DiBella, for setting up that meeting. Unbelievable. So $100 million was not enough to fight Anthony Joshua for undisputed in an easier fight. The DAZN contract wasn't right. But the contract and everything was right with Tyson Fury in a so-called harder fight for less money for not undisputed. Wilder, why do you do this to yourself? You're an absolute embarrassment. It's like sometimes his mouth is moving, but the brain hasn't quite clicked in yet. The lights are on, no one's home. It's absolutely ridiculous. And to say that he could have fought Joshua, but they ran. How was it that Joshua was running? He was the only one who actually put in legitimate offers, starting off with $12.5 million, then moved up to $15 million, then moved up to 40%, then moved up to $100 million for back-to-back fights, with the first fight being in America. But Joshua didn't want to fight him anyway. Joshua was running. Now, people may say, well, Wilder, he did offer Anthony Joshua $50 million. Now, first and foremost, even if that money was legitimate, $50 million, that's actually less money than what Joshua offered Wilder. Bearing in mind that Joshua is the pay-per-view fighter. Joshua is the guy who brings the eyes and the ears. Joshua was the one with the 3 of the 4 belts. Wilder's only bringing 1 belt to the party for undisputed. Wilder, who can't sell out a phone booth. Joshua's selling out stadiums. He even went to America and sold out Madison Square Garden in record time. So if people want to say, yeah, well, it's because the Joshua Wilder was a bigger fight than Wilder Fury, is because that was a fight undisputed. Okay, because of Joshua, not because of Wilder. That should be pretty obvious, right? But Wilder, listen, you need to be thinking before you go on these different channels. And quite clearly, him going on now after 8, 9, 10 months, whatever it is, of pure silence and twerking and whatever else it is that he's been doing. Now he's hopping around different channels all of a sudden because the fights fell apart with Tyson Fury. That his team allowed for the contract to expire when his team, according to Bob Arum, put in the contract expiry date. Suddenly now they're all out in damage control, so him channel hopping is quite clearly a way to try and do his best to restore any kind of fans that he has left. But if anything, he's probably hurt himself a whole lot more with all the absolute ludicrous things that he's been saying. I don't understand this, man. I don't understand it. Either he knows that he's lying, but he knows that a section of his fan base are so brain dead, where the educational system in them parts must be at an all-time low, that they will believe anything and anything that he says. Or he actually believes it. If he actually believes it, I don't know. I mean, seriously, honestly. Anyway, that is Deontay Wilder's statement, that he says that Anthony Joshua ran away and the DAZN deal wasn't right. But yet, far less money to fight Tyson Fury for not undisputed was okay. Let's also not forget as well, right after Wilder beat Dominic Brazil, he was asked a question, what about a Joshua fight? Oh, well, the fans are going to have to be patient. All good things come to those who wait. We're trying to generate as much revenue as we possibly can because our heads are not designed to be punched. All these kind of excuses. He blatantly told you in that ring he had no interest. Again, don't believe it. 1 week before Joshua fought Andy Ruiz Jr., thinking that Andy Ruiz Jr. was going to lose that fight. So Joshua was going to stand in the middle of the ring afterwards on American soil and call out the American champion. Wilder did everything he could to make sure that that wasn't going to happen in the event of Anthony Joshua winning. Of course, that didn't quite turn out for Anthony Joshua, unfortunately. But on the week before that fight with Joshua and Ruiz the first time round, Wilder, what did he say? Well, there's no point in Anthony Joshua calling me out because it ain't going to happen because I've already signed to fight Luis Ortiz. And then I'm going to be fighting Tyson Fury. The guy had no interest in fighting Joshua. If you still don't understand that, Lord help you. Lord help you. I mean, honestly, what more could you possibly say about this man? He's living in a bubble. I don't know. Does he have yes men around him all the time? Yes, Wilder, you're the best. Of course, Deontay, yes, you're the best. We know that some of these clown channels will just perpetuate all these lies on his behalf. Because there's enough stupid people in the world, unfortunately, there is enough stupid people in the world to believe the absolute garbage that comes out of this man's mouth. Anyway, drop your thoughts below, click thumbs up, subscribe, catch you all on the next video.